Hello and welcome to another video, and I'm actually recording this on my birthday, and I'm probably going to upload it on pretty much the same day because I've kind of had a really rough week, and mentally ended off yesterday coming as close to having a full-on mental breakdown as I've had in a long time. It's been a week, it really has, and honestly, things are better today, to say the least. I know fine well I definitely have baggage around my birthday. There's probably a video that's going to have gone up around this detailing one of the surprisingly better ones, and it was still not exactly great. But I needed some comfort gaming, and with Control 2 coming out, I never got around to playing the DLC for Alan Wake 2. And Alan Wake 2 was essentially my game of the year that year. Same year that Tears of the Kingdom came out. It is up there as like probably my all-time favorite game, so I know that sounds weird, but I still, and I say this kind of jokingly, but I still resent Nintendo for releasing Tears of the Kingdom in the state that they did. And what I mean is, it ran like shit on the Switch 1, whereas Alan Wake 2 was a masterpiece. Tears of the Kingdom, again, masterpiece, but this was a masterpiece that I wasn't expecting, because the first Alan Wake was not. It was janky as fuck. I suffered through it. I really tried to play through American Nightmare as well, and just could not. I wish they would remake the first two games on this engine, because the story was great, but it was the gameplay, the actual jank and everything. And so when I say all of that, I'm not trying to take the piss or anything, but Alan Wake and Tears of the Kingdom were both essentially my game of the year, because Alan Wake ran flawlessly, and Tears of the Kingdom is definitely retroactively my game of the year now because of, the Switch 2 version coming out and being absolutely phenomenal. That should have been the way that we played the game, though, in the first place. That's what I mean by I kind of have a little bit of resentment for Nintendo for doing that, because I understand why, but anyway. I wanted to go for Alan Wake 2 because I never got to play the DLC, and I know fine well it's going to be important for Control 2 coming out, because obviously Sam Lake's kind of making a metaverse and everything, and that's why this video is essentially about. He is probably, outside of some of the all-time greats like Eiji Aonuma, Shigeru Miyamoto, Hideo Kojima. I may not even be the biggest Kojima fan. I like quite a few of his games, and the games that I like really had a tremendously profound impact on me. But it's one of those. Sam Lake is probably my favorite director in video games at this moment in time. And it's like, as a person and everything, he's the kind of person that I truly do hope nothing bad ever comes out about him, because I don't actually get that vibe at all, and I'm usually surprisingly not that wrong when it comes to things like this. I'm kind of the person who watched an interview on a certain wizard author when I was like 13. They were on CBBC being interviewed, and I'm like, there's like this evil aura coming off this person. I don't really get it, but I'm going to keep an eye, and well, yeah. So I don't actually get any bad vibe from Sam Lake, and I hope nothing ever happens, because honestly, I think the man's a fucking genius. And what I'm about to discuss with this, I haven't played through the game a second time. There's going to be parts that I've most likely forgot, and it's why I'll still probably upload this video, but I might have to upload another video once I actually finish more of it. And I apologize as well that this footage is just going to be walking around doing this, because I am actually trying to really enjoy this playthrough, but because it is a replay, I did want to at least bring it up. Yeah, this is a game about plurality, and I don't know how best to explain this to people who know nothing about it. A lot of my channel is discussing some mental health stuff, and plurals are something I have a lot of experience with, talking to, befriending. There's a lot of plurality in my life. It's the sort of thing that when you are in the circles that I am, it comes up a lot. And there's no way to fully explain it if you genuinely do not know what plurality is. I'm not going to say all plurality, because there's different kinds, but the kind I am most versed in is the fact that as a child, if you experience some severely horrific trauma, it can split your brain into multiple personalities, which is why it used to be called multiple personality disorder. And you can heal with a lot of therapy, and some people do. I don't want to use the word recover because I don't really think it's appropriate for what I'm discussing, but I also can't think of a better simile right now. But essentially, someone who is plural can become singular, individual again, but it's not guaranteed, and it's not like there's systems out there who will always be systems, and then there's people out there who have managed to do the work and actually fuse is what the term is, and then there's people who never expected it, who just woke up one day and suddenly all of their headmates, all of their alters were not there anymore. And all of this, I understand, is completely fucking confusing to anyone who doesn't know anything about it, but I think Sam Lake knows about it, and I'm not saying Sam Lake's a plural or anything like that. I mean, hell, fucking, for all I know, Sam Lake might be a plural. Like, I've never met the guy. But Alan Wake 2 was 100% a story about plurality. So, to quickly explain, when alters exist in headspaces, you can get a varying different amount of alters. Like, there's some that are human, there's some that are demonic, there's some that are angelic, there's some that are, like, based on fictives, like, so characters of things. And there's some, how it happens and how it has been very detailed described to me by people. You can actually have alters who are essentially splits of each other, and they can essentially replicate, and that's what this fucking game is. Because I'm playing as Alan Wake here, but if I just run up these stairs and go speak to Artie, who's obviously from Control as well, and might be an alien or might not, it's this whole thing. If you've never played these games, I will try my best not to actually spoil too much here. You really should. They're fantastic. But when I can actually fucking find Artie, there we go. Artie sees Alan Wake here and says, "Hi, Tom." Because it's not Alan, it's Tom. But it is Alan. Except for the fact that there's also a character from American Nightmare, and I'm trying to remember if he was actually... I think he was in the first Alan Wake game, and then they did the spin-off American Nightmare that delved deeper into it. I'm now trying to remember, is it Scratch? Again, I've only played this once. I am really trying to actually enjoy it and play through it, and I do need to do another thing, but I think it's Scratch. Scratch is also Tom, and Scratch is also Alan Wake, and they are the same person, but not. And it gets better than that with the fact that I am beyond positive that this is a game based on plurality. Plurality, as I say, not always, but the kind I am specifically talking about comes from trauma splitting the brain. So anyone who knows anything about trauma work and going to therapy and working on things and how your memories play tricks with you and how you have to actually work out what the real memory is and how you have to get out the memories that you've blacked out and everything, is basically the entire story of Saga Anderson in this game. Because Saga Anderson's going through the town and it's like, "Hey, I can't believe you're back here since your daughter died." "My daughter never died." "Well, what are you talking about? Of course your daughter died." The whole thing with how they do that, with how she just happens to have this apparent superpower, because yeah, alters can have powers in the headspace. It's how the brain creates, I'm trying to think the best way to word it, maybe seeing something like, because this is an Alan Wake game as well, creates narratives. It's how the brain figures out the best way to explain it, because when the child who has had this trauma happen splits and everything, you start to confuse like imagination with reality and a lot of stuff like that. So it's how metaphors essentially work this way as well. It's how the brain goes, "Oh, well, this equals that," and it's not actually that happened, or that the person has superpowers or something or looked like a demon. It's usually just that the brain is trying to find a way to make the subconscious understand, essentially. And yeah, Saga having superpowers, and then also just having to be related to the old Gods of Asgard characters type, like the band members, and how reality completely shifts as well, because when you are in a headspace, as I've been told it's called, which yeah, Saga and Alan both have one of those. Then you basically piece things out on boards and trees, and I'm telling you now, like, just again, I don't know Sam Lake personally, but this game is a game based on plurality. And that is one of the coolest things in the history of the world to me, because I fucking love Hellblade Senua's Saga, because obviously that is a character who has, Senua has psychosis, which also one of the people I speak to who is a plural does actually have a diagnosis of psychosis. It's one of those that no one else seems to have picked up on this, at least no one in any sense of, like, I'm trying to say skill, I guess. No one who can make something blow up on the internet and have these theories and that. I've never seen any popular creator out there actually say that that's what this game is based on, and I am beyond positive, because all of it with the whole, like Alan's part specifically here, and I know again I am doing the world's worst footage, part of it's not wanting to progress, and also part of it's the fact that I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing with the fucking light here, but the way that Alan's chapters work is that you've got this light and you can literally change your fucking reality. And obviously Saga's reality changes all of the time as well, but I have the power to change my reality like this. That's how a lot of shit works in Headspace, and it's just, honestly, it's a shame that no one who is popular can actually get this theory out there, because I am absolutely positive that that's what they're doing to set up Alan Wake 3. Now, I am about to spoil the very, very end. I am only going to spoil the end of the original playthrough. I haven't played through the edition thing that they added on, or the DLC, so that probably means I'm going to have to play through this twice. But I'm still going to spoil the end, so fair warning, giving you as much time and waffle as I can. It is kind of now an infamous line. It's not a loop, it's a spiral. Or it's not a spiral, it's a loop. Fucking dyslexia, I swear down, some days it, like, of all the times to fuck up a line. But basically, the end of the game is Alan and Scratch and Tom, and you don't really know what's going on, and you keep going all of this back and forth on where the narrative's going, and it ends with one of the versions of Alan / Tom / Scratch shooting another version in the head to try to stop it, to stop the cycle, to kill off the other alter, to stop this. And that again can actually be a thing in plurality. There are times when alters in the headspace will actually essentially physically harm and kill each other. And I understand, again, if you know nothing about this, it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Firstly, you genuinely don't need to understand someone else's lived experience to like it in that way, because it's one of those that just be grateful that it's not your lived experience, because it ain't fun. But it's one of those that just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it isn't happening. And there are ways that it does actually make sense when you talk to people like this, that it can be essentially a way of an alter can cause harm to the body. Let's try to simplify it this way. If the body has, let's just say three people inside of the body fighting for control, they can actually do physical harm to the body, and it can be a very dangerous and problematic thing, obviously. So if there is an alter that is causing that kind of problem, that kind of chaos, that kind of, hey, we're not ready to deal with this, so we're going to lash out like this, it can present itself in such a horrific way like that. So the alters will then essentially kill off that alter in the headspace and go, you can't have control anymore because you are doing bad things. And that's basically what I think Alan Wake 2 ends with in setting up Alan Wake 3, and how they're basically trying to break the cycle by killing the alter off who keeps doing it. I am very, very interested with where this fucking story goes, because I truly do believe this is based on plurality. And I'm not saying Sam Lake is a plural. Sam Lake might have just done a lot of research. Sam Lake might have just literally read a story about plurality and thought, fucking hell, I bet you I could make one hell of a great fucking video game out of that concept. Because, yeah, as much as this is a real life disorder, specifically dissociative identity disorder is the one that I'm talking about. As much as this is a real disorder, it's also something that you can use video games, you can use trauma, you can use that, like, you can use it to fuel the art, you can use it to tell the story, you can use it as a medium, and I honestly believe that that's what Sam's done here. It is absolutely fascinating to me, the way that no one seems to have picked up on this. And maybe it is just simply because plurals are extremely rare and private people anyway. Add in the fact that obviously it's not something that a lot of people will come in contact with and a lot of people will want to talk about or understand or be able to talk about. And hell, I'm probably not even fully qualified or anything. I'm just a person who knows a hell of a lot more than a lot of people about this subject. Not to say that people like this of a subject. Hopefully you get my meaning. Topic, maybe I should have said. But yeah, it's fascinating to me what he's planning with Alan Wake 2 into 3, and now that I actually found out that there is a second playthrough that does change some things with the end, I'm going to be interested in looking into that, because my original guess from the original ending is that you were going to essentially kill off, and I'm trying to actually remember which one kills off, like, if it's actually confirmed. I think it's Alan killing Tom, or is it Tom killing Alan? I genuinely can't remember. Maybe it's Scratch killing Alan. And my assumption is, because Alan is actually dealing with a lot of trauma as well, I don't know if Saga is actually in Alan's head, or if Saga is her own person, and maybe they're in a psych ward type thing. That I hope psych ward's the right word here. Like maybe a care unit, you know, for people who have DID and who need supervision. And I don't know if they're essentially like friends and dragging each other into things, because the way her story goes, by the time it finishes, I truly couldn't tell you if her daughter's alive or dead. And the way Alan's story ends, I genuinely don't know if Alan's alive or dead. And it feels to me like Scratch was going, I don't think you're ready to deal with the death of your wife, because obviously that's kind of the thing that happens in the first game, and then also that musical act, which I can't wait to get to that, by the way. This is the first time I'm playing this game on my PC with all of the graphics turned up, and my word, is this game fantastic. I've waited until I actually got my new monitors to be able to do this, and yeah, wow. The sunset section, like in the forest at the start, like wow. Anyway, so I don't know if it's a case of Scratch going, hey, we cannot deal with the death of her. Yeah, we can't do this. And the other characters are essentially going, yeah, but we need to process this trauma. We need to get past it, because we're not living our lives here. And I honestly feel that that's what they're trying to set up with Saga as well. And it's like, by the time Alan Wake 3 is done, I don't know what the hell is going to actually be reality for these characters and not, because did Alan write Saga so that he could deal with grief in a different way? Like, yeah, I really don't know what they're going to do. And again, I could be like off the base here. This is just my personal theory, but yeah, I really do feel like Alan Wake 2 is a story based on plurality. And with that, I'm going to say, I've been Sky Fellowship. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. Surprisingly, I've actually had an okay-ish birthday after the way things started. I was not expecting it. And with that, I am actually going to get back to playing this, because, yeah, I truly do love this game, and strongly... I know at this point, if you're already watching, I've kind of spoiled most of everything. But I also know that there's some people out there who don't care about spoilers in that way, and it's not the sort of thing that spoilers can ruin it. And especially this is the sort of game that it really is about the journey, not just the destination, especially because there's so many different ways to interpret the destination that who really knows, you know? But yeah, I'm going to actually continue playing now. So until next time, bye!